Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a book that has absolutely changed my life. And the book is 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. I think growing up reading books has never really been my thing. I mean, when I was a kid, I would mostly read fiction books that I'll come by. But then as I got older and exams got more difficult, reading was mostly reserved for textbooks and to mainly pass your exams. I've sort of become that annoying friend who's always talking about reading to my friends. And most of the time, my friends tell me, well, I'm not able to get the time to read, or reading is a little boring or whatever. And my response normally to that is reading is just like, watching a movie, and not every movie is worth watching, or not every movie is interesting. So if you are reading a book and it is not interesting, it doesn't mean that reading is boring. It just means that the book that you are reading is boring to you, and you should find a book that is worth reading. If you find a book that is very interesting and speaks to your issues or your problems, then it is in no way going to be boring, because you are getting a lot of value from that book. And I promise you, if you should find a book that helps you advance in your personal life, it will be very hard to put that book down. What do you think? Good. So Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life is actually a book that absolutely changed my life. It gave me a new perspective on how to find meaning in life. It's not just even how to find meaning, but where to even look for meaning in life. Now, the rules that Jordan Peterson espouses are very, very simple rules. If you really sit down to think about them, it really gives you a new perspective on what life should be. So Jordan Peterson goes through each of these rules with very rich stories, some of them from religious texts like from the Bible, even from other religions, from Egyptian texts and all of that. Now, some of the rules are: compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not to who someone else is today. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. Do not bother children when they are skateboarding. In this video, I'm actually going to talk about two of the main rules that actually changed my perspective on life. The first rule I would like to talk about is tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Before I read this book, I considered myself a genuinely moral person. I told the truth a fair amount of the time. I wouldn't consider myself a liar. But then after I read the book and took the exercise or the lessons from it seriously, I immediately realized that 99% to almost 100% of everything that I said and did was a complete lie. Jordan Peterson mentions in this chapter that lies are not just things that we say that are untrue. There are also actions that we do that we know deep within our being that is untrue. We tell lies when we set up goals or aims for ourselves, and then we use our words and our actions to hit that goal that we set for ourselves, no matter what. What does that mean? It means that anytime, for example, you are late for school or you are late for work and you are asked, why are you late for work? You have to come up with a reason that allows you to save face or avoid the responsibility of being late. So you tell a lie, you were stuck in traffic, whatever lie that you can tell so that you can get out of that uncomfortable situation. Now you may think that is a harmless lie. What happens is that these small lies weaken your character. And once you tell this small lie, then it means you are a little less courageous to own up to your own mistakes and own up to your own responsibilities, and a little more trained in a lie. So next time you can tell a more better lie to get you out of that situation. Now imagine practicing this for years. You become a very skillful liar. You get to get away, or at least you get to think you get away with all these lies that you tell. But because you didn't own up to your own responsibilities, you are less responsible, you have a weaker character. So when life throws very difficult things in your way, and life will throw these difficult things in your way, you can't handle them because you were not able to take responsibility when you needed to take responsibility for them. You have a very weak character. People probably don't trust you, and you also don't trust yourself. So you don't even know what path looks like because you have totally ruined your vision and just refuse to see the path forward. So Jordan Peterson mentions in this chapter that we lie based on two main premises. And premise one is that what we know now is sufficient. And premise two is that if we should live reality as it is, it will be unbearable, or that we can bend reality to suit what we want. So he actually mentions that premise one is absolutely not acceptable because what you know now is not sufficient. If you should lie to get what you want now or what you think is good now, you are actually ignorant to the fact that you actually don't know what is good for you now. And even if it is good for you now, if it will be good for you long term. So an example will be that you will lie on your CV to get a job. Obviously, you think that getting a job is good and getting the salary from the job will help you to take care of your family or take care of your bills and all of that, right? But then you will still have to live with the consequence of that lie. You will still have to go through your work every day defending this lie. And it is most probably going to make you miserable. And now you are going to hate yourself because now you are doing a job that you don't like. And you also have to defend the lie that you told to actually keep the job. And that is a one ticket to being miserable. So the second premise for lying is that if we should live reality as it is, that is, if we should tell the truth and only perform actions that we believe to be true or in conformity to reality, we will not be able to bear it. And that by telling a lie, we can successfully manipulate reality to give us what we want. And the second part is not possible, that you can't manipulate reality. You can think that you have gotten away with whatever lie that you told now, and the chickens always come to roost. They will always get back to you. And that, why do you think that reality is intrinsically evil? So just think about the consequence of that worldview. It would mean that anybody who is actually striving to be good is actually ignorant, or the person is naive, or the person is actually evil and just pretending to be good. What will that mean for you practically? It seems to me that it will mean that anytime you strive to do something good or something worthwhile and it doesn't work out, and it most probably won't work out, then the fault is not yours. It's just reality which messed up. Then your failure is not on you, it's on the world, it's on someone else, it's on something else. So where is the hope to improve, to be better at what you are doing? In this chapter, he mentions that anytime you hear that someone has done something that is completely horrible or horrifying, you should know that some of these ideas have manifested themselves. These people have thought really that reality is evil, and if something should not work out, someone else or something else is to be blamed. And they think that morally speaking, these people must be stopped at all costs because they are the reasons why they are going through the terrible things that they are going through. So if you think about these premises very well, that you do not have enough knowledge to determine absolutely what is good for you at this point, then two, you can't manipulate reality, and that you can't say that reality is evil. So what is the next option? Well, the next option is to tell the truth. Now, remember in the beginning, we mentioned that we lie when we set an aim and we do everything and anything, what reality to achieve that goal. But then goals are still important. We need goals to determine what is worth doing and what is not worth doing. So what other option do we have? Well, Jordan Peterson mentions that the other option is to tell the truth. Jordan Peterson mentions that basically you look at culture to set your aim. What can we learn from culture? Well, we know the basic things that you need friends, you need family, you need a partner. You need to educate yourself. You need a job or a career to contribute to society and to develop yourself mentally and physically. Now, learning from culture, and we look at all of these things that people have done over the generations, and it looks to benefit them over a long period of time. We can now set an aim. By this time, we don't set our aims as absolute. We set our aims with humility and in truth, and move toward this slowly with our eyes wide open, knowing that the better aims and ambitions have to do with the development of your ability and the development of your character, and not to gain status and power. But when you do this, even your aims will change because now you are able to see when something else serves you better. Now, to anyone watching, this may sound all goofy and just theoretical, but for me personally, this has absolutely changed my life. So after reading this chapter, I started to pay very close attention to the things that I said. Now I can promise you that if you have never done this consciously, you should try it. You would notice, at least for me, that everything that I said was some form of lie or another. I was either saying it to look better than I actually am, to avoid any kind of responsibility, or to prove that I am smarter than I actually am. It was very, very difficult in the beginning. Like any other skill, I can promise you that this is also something that takes time to develop. You can start to listen to yourself more and more. Anytime I'm speaking now, I start to speak slower than I actually do, because like Jordan Peterson mentions, you should sort of start to feel the words that you are saying. And if you should pay very close attention, you would feel a divide in yourself anytime that you are saying something that is slightly untrue, because you are actually listening to what you are saying, and you are trying to make sure that the words that are coming out of your mouth are things that you actually believe to be true. Now, this is obviously not a guarantee that when you do this, life is going to be all sweet and rosy for you. Now, what this has meant for me, practically speaking, is that anytime difficult or bad or unfortunate things happen, I can look into my heart deeply and ask myself, did I do everything that I could in this situation? If the answer is yes, then I'm okay, even if the situation is bad. But imagine going through a bad or terrible situation, knowing very well that you didn't bring your best to the table, that you didn't tell the truth, that you sort of contributed a little part to that. I think knowing deep within ourselves that any unfortunate thing that happened, even if we contributed just a tiny bit to it, is what actually gives us the sleepless nights, because we knew that there were things that we could have done better, but then we didn't do the best that we could. Now, the second rule that was also very important to me was actually the last rule in the book, which is pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. Now, like many of the rules in the book, it's literal and figurative. Now, in this chapter, Jordan Peterson goes through his own personal experience with his daughter. He tells a story where his young daughter was very sick when she was growing up. Now, this chapter is very difficult to read because, like he mentions in the book, there are very few things that are worse than finding out that an innocent child is sick and going through a lot of pain without any apparent reason. Now, what did I learn from this chapter? Jordan Peterson mentions that sometimes you may have long-term plans, maybe in the next 3, 5, 10 years, but then sometimes life becomes so difficult that you would have to put your long-term plans away and just try to get through the next week or the next day or even the next few hours. You have to shrink your timeline to be able to deal with life as it comes at you, and also try your best to find the beauty in life. Well, unfortunately for me, a lot of the things that speak to many people are attractive and beautiful do not speak to me. I can give an example or several examples. People look at the sunset and they are like, wow, this is so beautiful. I just look at it, I'm like, man, like what is it? It's just a yellow thing in the sky. What do you find so attractive about that? I would see, let's say, the night sky with stars and all of that, and I'm like, people are like, oh, this is so awe-inspiring and all of that. But I just look at it like there are some bright things in the sky. What do you guys find so awe-stricken about? But I realized that that doesn't help. Being cynical about these things does not do anything to help you. So I would have to find something that really attracts me, because sometimes when you're going through a very rough patch, these are some of the things that make life beautiful. So I've also tried to find beauty in things. Jordan Peterson mentioned for him, for example, he watches The Simpsons in 1.5 times speed. I also happen to like music a lot, so now I listen to music more intensely, admiring the lyrics of the artists or the producers. And these are the little places I find comfort when life seems unbearable. Now, if you've been able to make it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I'm going to leave my email in the description below. You can send me an email if you want this book, or if there are any other books that you need, I'm going to buy them for you for free. The first 5 people who are going to send me an email of any book that they need, because I really believe that good books really changes who you are as a person positively. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.